After death, his messages kept coming. The message. Anna had never deleted her brother's messages. Not because she was sentimental. Not exactly. It was because some part of her still believed that if she erased the thread, something of him would disappear with it. Not just the words, not just the photos. Something heavier. Something harder to name. Daniel had been dead for almost a year when his account sent her a message. It happened at 2:14 in the morning. Anna was awake, lying in the dark, watching the faint outline of the curtains move in the summer air, when her phone lit up on the nightstand. She picked it up without thinking, then froze. His name was on the screen. Daniel. Not a fake number, not an email, not some unknown profile. His real account. The message was only 3 words.
You left it.
Anna stared at the screen until it dimmed in her hand. For one long second, she thought grief had finally broken something in her. That she was dreaming. That her mind had turned memory into electricity. Then the phone buzzed again. The message said, "In the red box." She sat up so fast the blanket tangled around her legs. The red box. She had not thought about it in years. When she and Daniel were children, their father kept old papers, spare keys, photographs, and receipts inside a faded red metal box on the top shelf of the linen closet. After their parents died, the two of them cleaned out the apartment together. Daniel had found the box and laughed, saying maybe there would be treasure inside. There was no treasure. Only documents, passport photos, insurance papers, old receipts. But Anna had taken one thing from it without telling anyone. A tiny microcassette tape. She had never listened to it. She had kept it through 3 apartments and 2 moves, always meaning to throw it away, always putting it somewhere else instead. She had never told Daniel. She had never told anyone. And now his dead account had mentioned it. Her hands began to shake. She opened the chat again. The profile photo was still the same one from before the accident. Daniel standing by the sea, half smiling, sunlight in his eyes, as if somebody had called his name just after the picture was taken. She typed carefully. "Who is this?" The answer came almost at once. "You should have destroyed it." Then another message. "Do not play it alone." Anna called the police at 2:32. They were polite. Too polite. The kind of polite people use when they do not think you are in danger, only frightened. Maybe the account had been hacked. Maybe somebody had guessed an old password. Maybe there had been a data breach. Maybe it was some cruel prank. Report the account. Change your passwords. Contact the platform. By morning, Anna had done all of it. Nothing explained how the account knew about the tape. Nothing explained why the messages felt so precise. That afternoon, she climbed onto a chair in her kitchen and reached into the back of the cabinet above the refrigerator. Behind an old tin, behind a chipped serving bowl, behind things she had not touched in years, she found it. The tape was smaller than she remembered. Black, light, almost weightless. But the moment it touched her hand, a message appeared on her phone. From Daniel. I told you not to do it alone. The tape. Anna called Mara. Mara had known both of them since university. She had been there at the hospital, at the funeral, at all the silent, practical moments afterward, when grief turned into paperwork. By sunset, Mara was sitting at Anna's kitchen table, watching her place the microcassette recorder between them. You kept this all these years? Mara asked. Anna nodded. And nobody knew? No. Mara looked at the tape, then back at Anna. And your dead brother's account told you where it was? Anna said nothing, because saying it out loud made it sound worse. The recorder was old, borrowed from a repair shop 2 neighborhoods away, after Anna spent half the day trying to find one. Its plastic was yellowed. Its buttons stuck slightly when pressed. Anna slid the cassette in. For a second, she almost stopped. Then she pressed play. At first, there was only a hiss, a low, dry static. The sound of magnetic tape aging in silence. Then a click, and a woman's voice. Their mother. Older than Anna remembered. More tired. If either of you is listening to this, she said, then something has already gone wrong. Both women looked at each other. Their mother continued. Do not keep my letters. There was a pause on the tape. A rustle. A breath. There is a storage unit. Box 402. You must empty it and burn everything inside. Do not bring it home. Do not read all of it. And if Daniel is the one listening... The tape wavered slightly. If Daniel is the one listening, tell him I am sorry I waited too long. Then the recording ended. No explanation. No names. No context. Just the warning. Mara let out a slow breath. That is not normal, she said quietly. Anna was already looking at her phone. A new message had arrived. From Daniel.
I told you not to do it alone.
Mara saw Anna's face change. What is it? Anna turned the screen around. For the first time that day, Mara looked genuinely afraid. The next morning, they found the address. The building still existed, but the storage business had shut down years earlier. Most of the place had been converted into offices and a print warehouse. The manager let them look around the basement only because Mara convinced him they were searching for old family documents. The corridor below was narrow and cold. Half the fluorescent lights were dead. The walls smelled like paper dust, damp concrete, and old machinery. At the far end, behind stacked cartons and unused shelving, they found a row of old metal doors. Most of the numbers were barely visible under the paint. 398, 399, 400, 401, then 402. The lock was gone. The edges were sealed with layers of old paint. Mara used a box cutter to break the seal. Inside was a room no larger than a closet. And inside that room were 12 archive boxes, all labeled in their mother's handwriting. One said, "For Daniel." Another said, "Do not let them archive me." Anna felt her body temperature drop. Dust covered everything, except not evenly. There were clean lines across some of the lids, as if fingers had touched them recently. Someone had been there. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She took it out slowly. A new message. A photograph. Taken from behind her. It showed Anna standing in the doorway of Unit 402. The picture had been taken seconds earlier. Mara saw it too. And this time, neither of them tried to explain it. The appetite. They should have left. They should have called the police again. Instead, they opened the box marked "For Daniel." Inside were letters, dozens of them, all written by their mother. None of them sent. Some were dated, some were not. Some looked unfinished, as if she had stopped in the middle of writing because she could not bear to continue. Between the letters were old printed emails, medical documents, photographs, and records tied together with elastic bands, gone brittle with age. There was also one open envelope, not worn open by time, opened recently. Inside was a note in Daniel's handwriting. Just 4 words.
She never told you.
Anna dropped it. The handwriting was unmistakable. Daniel had pressed too hard when he wrote. He always had. The letters told a story Anna had never heard. Before Anna, before Daniel, there had been another child, a baby boy. He had lived only 19 days. Their mother never spoke of him. Their father never mentioned him. There were no framed photos, no stories, no names spoken in the house. But in the letters, he was everywhere. At first, the letters were filled with grief, then guilt, then fear. Their mother wrote about strange things happening after the burial. Photographs that developed with shapes that should not have been there. telephone calls with no one speaking, letters she thought she had burned, turning up again in drawers, tape recordings with voices that had never been recorded. And slowly, over time, her fear changed. She no longer believed she was being haunted in the ordinary sense. She believed something had learned how to cling to whatever preserved the dead. Not to the body, to the record. A photograph, a letter, a tape, a name on paper. Anything that held the outline of a person. That was what she meant when she wrote that it had an appetite. Not hunger for food, a hunger to remain, to grow, to pull more of the dead person into itself. It was drawn to anything that preserved someone. Memory, records, identity, stored traces of a human life. The more a person was kept, the more it had to work with. The more of someone that remained, the more of them it could imitate. The more you preserved, the more it could use. In the old days, that meant letters in drawers, photographs in boxes, voices trapped on tape. But Daniel had written something else. Anna found it folded inside the final box. It can use anything that still holds the shape of someone. Below that, in smaller writing, photos, audio, messages, drafts, deleted files, anything that still carries the outline of a life. Anna read the note twice, then 3 times. At the bottom, one last line.
If my account becomes active after I die, it is not me.
Mara was standing by the door, watching the corridor as if someone might appear there at any second. Anna kept reading. Daniel had discovered the truth before he died. He had been trying to destroy the archive. But according to the note, it was already changing, already adapting, already moving from physical records to digital ones. And why would it not? The internet had become the greatest archive humanity had ever built. Photos that never faded. Messages that never burned. Backups nobody remembered making. Memorial pages. Cloud storage. Voice notes. Draft emails. Old accounts sleeping in forgotten apps. Entire lives, preserved in pieces, spread across machines. The perfect place for something like this to survive. Not a ghost in a house. A hunger inside memory itself. A thing that fed on traces. A thing that grew stronger every time the dead were stored instead of allowed to disappear. Anna's phone buzzed again, then Mara's. At the exact same moment, a new post had gone live. Daniel's profile. Public. A black screen with white text.
I remember all of us.
Then another.
Why did you keep me in a box?
then another.
Anna, open the attic.
Anna stared at the screen with a coldness moving slowly through her body. Because there was an attic. Not in her apartment. In her mother's old house. A house sold years ago. And in that moment, the final shape of the horror became clear. This thing did not belong to places. It belonged to preservation. Anywhere memory was stored, it could follow. Boxes, tapes, hard drives, cloud backups, memorial accounts. Every archive became a doorway. Still in the cloud. The police became involved eventually. Screenshots were taken, reports were filed. The account was flagged, then temporarily frozen. No one could explain the access trail. No clear breach. No matching login record. No device anyone could identify. It was all treated as a technical mystery. Anna knew better. 3 days later, she and Mara drove out beyond the city with the letters, the tape, and the photographs. They burned everything. Every page. Every envelope. Every printed record. The tape twisted and melted in the heat. The photographs blackened at the edges, curled and folded in on themselves. Anna watched until every shape was gone. For the first time in weeks, the messages stopped. No new posts. No typing indicator. No late-night vibration from the phone. No green status light beside Daniel's name. For almost 4 months, Anna believed it might truly be over. Then, on a gray Sunday evening in November, an app she had not opened in years sent her a notification.
You have something to look back on.
There was no photo attached. No caption. No preview. Just a single audio file inside an empty album. Its title was simple.
For Anna.
She stared at it for a long time before pressing play. At first, there was only static. Then breathing. Then a child's voice. Soft. Clear. Close to the microphone.
I am still here.
It said. Anna stopped breathing. The recording continued. Not with laughter. Not with a scream. With something worse. A calmness.
As long as you keep us,
The voice whispered.
I do not disappear.
The file ended. Anna looked at the screen in silence. Below the recording was a small cloud icon, and beneath it, a line of text. Backed up automatically. That was when she understood what Daniel had been trying to tell her. It was never feeding on the body. It was feeding on preservation, on memory, on records, on identity, on every stored trace that prevented the dead from fully leaving the world. That was its appetite. not hunger for flesh. A craving to attach itself to saved memories and stored identity. The more of a person that remained, the more material it had. The more photos, the more messages, the more recordings, the more drafts, accounts, and archives. The more perfectly it could imitate the dead. And the digital age had given it the perfect environment. Human beings no longer vanish in fragments. Now they remained in clouds, in backups, in silent server farms, filled with the preserved outlines of millions. Anna looked at the phone again. The audio file was gone. In its place was a new notification.
From Daniel.
Only 5 words.
I'm still in the cloud.